We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse.
That's a good point, Stephen. And talking about climate tax, why doesn't Saudi Arabia now have their own climate tax so they can prevent climate change? Welcome back to the A News Network. And the question of this theme is, should Saudi Arabia pay for their own weather tax to fix this problem? Now, what they have done here is they have put seeds, cloud seeds in the atmosphere and created clouds that make storms. And this is something that they did and don't really have a right to do. Now, storms in North America are called hurricanes, and in Asia, they're called typhoons. So, what do you call hurricane-type storms in Saudi Arabia now? Let's call them tempests. And since we have to label them from A to Z, why don't we call this one Tempest Alley, the first of its kind because of climate change and the cloud seeds that they put in the atmosphere. What right do they have to change the weather and play Mother Nature and put all this rain there? They have no right to do this. And that rain that was dumped there should have been put somewhere else in the world. Now, somewhere else in the world, as the summer season comes up, might have drought because of what they did. And you know what Stephen Gilboa will do? He will go on stage and say, look at climate change. That's caused all these forest fires. That's what he will do. And most forest fires, for 85%, are caused man-made. These are people walking in the bush, have a campfire, or a motorized bike goes through, and a spark comes off the motorcycle and starts the fire. That's what 85% of all storms in the last 30 years since the recorded time of them looking at it. But he will use this as a tool for climate change tax. That's what Stephen Gilboa will do, because he is that type of guy. And all these water that's come into Saudi Arabia, like the 3 years of rain in one shot, all those buildings are built on pylons stuck in the sand, many pylons. Now, as this water starts going through the sand, will that start pivoting these towers all of a sudden? Because this is never supposed to have happened, putting that kind of rain and that waterfall in that city and country. So what happens if they do start tilting now? Like, this could be like a disaster for all these buildings, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And, you know, these, just because they're billionaires, and that gives them no right to do it, just like Bill Gates to block the sun to stop climate change. He has no right to do that either, and they don't have a right to do this as well. So, anyway, should Saudi Arabia start paying climate tax? And maybe they should pay per gallon for every gallon they ship to North America, Europe, Asia, and Australia. Why don't they pay for that climate tax, every citizen that they have? And I think a fun fact, in Saudi Arabia, 95% of all the citizens are government employees because they actually take care of their citizens. And immigration, well, they don't want anyone to come there either, too, in that place. Go figure, how they can do that. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you in the next video from the A News Network. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next.
We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know that climate change makes wildfire season worse. We know